Well, that would be a very interesting topic for me to talk to you about this evening, Tennessee walkers. But instead, I've chosen this strange topic called merit selection. The jury is still out. And for those of you here in Colorado, that title might surprise you a little bit because you believe very strongly in merit selection. And with the wonderful help of the Colorado League of Women Voters, achieved merit selection as a wonderful process for selection of judges in your state. But I have to tell you, not all states across the country are as fortunate as you are. In fact, the jury's not only still out, but the jury keeps coming back in some states on jury selection. After the voters think that they have adopted jury selection, some group comes along and tries to change things. Go back to the partisan election, go back to the nonpartisan election. And that concept of trying to fool the voters is why the League of Women Voters is so much involved in this issue of judicial selection. The voters, or you could say the public. The key words there, the voters. That's what the League of Women Voters is all about. I have to tell you a little bit about the League, first of all, so that you understand why we're so heavily involved in judicial independence, judicial fairness, judicial impartiality. We were founded in 1920, in February, about 6 months before women got the right to vote. Yes, we're going to be having a big 90th anniversary next year. As a matter of fact, it's going to be a year-long party. But beside the point of the fact that we are 90 years old and have persevered all these years on this issue, we actually started the organization in 1920 because we knew that this new cadre of voters, very large cadre of voters, needed good, solid information when they went to the polls. Not just about the process of voting and how to cast a ballot, but also about the issues and the candidates that were going to be on the ballot. And for those of you who know the work of the Colorado League of Women Voters knows that indeed we're really well known for our voters' guides. We're still doing that work today, and it didn't take too long for us to realize that it wasn't only women who needed voter education, it was the whole voting population. And we're very, very pleased to have extended over the years voter information about judicial candidates, whether they be partisanly elected, nonpartisan elected, or up for retention under merit selection programs. Education is a key to what we do. The League of Women Voters is in 850 local and state leagues across the country. We're in every state in the union. And that's one of the reasons that some of our detractors have been known to call us the plague of women voters. They seem to think that we spread out everywhere. Well, ladies and gentlemen of the Colorado League, you would agree we do spread out pretty well when it comes to the issues that we care so much about. We do seem to be everywhere on the issues that are our issues. And what are some of those? It will, I think, help you to understand why we're involved so heavily in judicial selection, judicial independence issues. When you know how much we care about educating voters, we care about our strong 3-branch form of government, we care about preserving our representative democracy. We believe that we should elect people who are our voices. We care about fairness, openness, honesty in our government. And that's why we work so hard to make sure that the public is able to participate in a lot of the policy-making decisions of the elected officials. Now, that doesn't apply to judges, but I have to tell you that those principles are really what underlie the work that the League of Women Voters is doing and has done in this area of judicial selection and merit selection. I'm going to shock you now a little bit, because those of you who know the great work of the Colorado League and know how instrumental they were in getting merit selection in Colorado will be kind of surprised to know that the National League does not have a position on the method of judicial selection. And the reason for that is the League of Women Voters is a 3-tier organization: local league, state league, and then the National League. The National League takes positions, and we come to our positions very, very carefully, thoroughly studying on a national issue. All of our leagues across the country get involved in studying that issue, pro, con, knowing it in and out. And only then do we come to a consensus on what the league position should be on that issue. At the national level, we study national issues. At the state level, the state leagues and the members in that state study issues that affect the state. And that's why we let our state leagues study the issue of how they believe judicial selection should take place in that state. Now, I have to admit that almost all of the state leagues that have studied judicial selection have come out on the side of merit selection, but not necessarily all of them. And a case in point is the Wisconsin League. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about them later on, which the story will be that wouldn't surprise me at all if in the next year or so they don't flip their position on judicial selection also. But the jury really is still out on merit selection. As I go around talking to our league members, and we talk about this particular issue, our league members are just like voters should be. They should look at all sides of the issue and come to their own decision based on the facts about the process of electing judges. And that process tells us that the jury is still out, because right now we have such a patchwork of the ways in which we select state judiciary across this country. It's mind-boggling. It's almost as many different ways as I've found that we run elections. And just like running elections, some of the ways that we select state judiciary are good, and some are bad, and some are pro-public, and some are not so favorable to the public and the fairness of the judiciary. The election of judges first arose actually very early in the history of this country, as many of you know. Then, we first were appointing judges, but people felt that we were being undemocratic by appointing judges, and that's why we should go to the elective system. And for very many years, there was no question. As states joined the Union, the process of electing the state judiciary was by election. Well, about and also as new states came in, they just kind of, without thinking about it, put into their constitutions that judges would be elected. After all, it was the democratic way, wasn't it? As a matter of fact, I have to tell you a little story. I was talking to our state league president in Nevada